Longbow, short longbow. Which one's better? Well, hey guys, welcome to Bowhunting Soul. Okay, this video is kind of a comparison between a short longbow and a long longbow. Okay, some pros, some cons, you know, and just kind of personal preferences, right? So, first of all, what defines a longbow? What makes a longbow technically a longbow? Well, technically, the definition of a longbow is that the string doesn't touch the limb past the string grooves, right? So it hits the limb only on one spot, right there, okay? And obviously, and the other end over here. Now, if this were curved, like a recurve, the string would actually click into that string groove, and the string would actually touch the curvature of the limb for some distance, several inches, whatever it is, until it starts to separate away from the limb, right? That's the only thing. That makes a longbow a longbow. It only touches it on one spot, okay? So like this one here, this is a reflex deflex longbow, meaning it's got deflex, reflex, okay? And that is technically a longbow. It only touches in one spot. If for some reason, you know, the limb kind of curved around like this and it actually touched the string along this curvature, that would make it technically not a longbow. It would be a recurve or some sort of hybrid or whatever. So anyway, but pros and cons, right? So I've got my two extremes over here. I've got my 56-inch Elkheart and a 66-inch Mushin stick, right? This is a St. Patrick Lake. This is a Javaman Elkheart. Love both of these bows equally, right? Very, very different shooting, very, very different styles. But pros, cons, let's talk about them. So first of all, a lot of what I'm going to say is going to be like personal preference, right? Some people have issues in a tree stand as far as clearance goes. I don't, especially in a tree stand. There's a lot more room to maneuver around. There's a lot more, you know, unless you've got a tree like literally like right behind you or some brush behind you in the tree or some limbs or something like that. The lower limb is really the only thing that might give you any kind of issue. But other than, you know, that, you can kind of maneuver around that, and you can maneuver around, and you can be able to clear what's behind you relatively easily because you've got room to maneuver. You've got room on your platform. Depends if you are comfortable stepping forward on your platform or not. I'm really not, to be honest. But in a tree stand, for me, it really doesn't matter. I thought the longbow, the ASL, the hill style bow, the 66-inch bow, is going to be an issue, and it's not in a tree stand. It's really not. And obviously, with a shorter bow like this, it's definitely not an issue. The differences in shooting these, I'm not even going to get into that because, I mean, we've got such different personalities here. We've got a pistol grip over here. So it's a locator grip, right? Very deep dish, high wrist, relatively high wrist, like it's like this, okay? Medium, high to high, I would say. And then you've got a very low wrist grip with the ASL like this, okay? Now, it does have a dished grip a little bit, but this is still considered a low wrist grip. Look at my wrist like this, okay? Versus, try and juggle two bows over here, like this. See how much, maybe, you know, when I draw, see how my hand is like this versus like this, okay? So that's a big difference. The shooting experience is totally different. I'm only pulling 27-inch maybe on these bows, 26 actually on the ASL. So I really don't run into any issues with stacking, drawing too far. Stacking means, you know, you get to a certain point in the draw length and the limbs stop flexing the way you want them to as far as feel, and then they start to pull on the limb rather than flex the limb, right? So I mean, if we're doing this, it is obscenely hot out here, by the way, so I'm going to be sweating. If you're doing this, right, see that limb? Now I'm only, you know, if I were to pull way this far that way, then you can get into a little bit of stacking perhaps. But this is a very short bow. Now, Greg Coffey builds amazing bows. Don't really have a lot of that stacking issue. I can sort of start to feel it, I think, past 27, or maybe it's just the poundage, you know, I'm feeling the poundage increase kind of thing. But otherwise, it's really, you know, for me, it's really not an issue. If you're a long draw shooter, 30 plus inches or whatever, 28, 29, 30 inches, that might be an issue for you. You never know. Okay. Other than that, as far as feel goes, right, shooting experience is different, right? We're shooting like this versus shooting like this with the ASL. But for me, the biggest difference is ground hunting. Now, I tried a whole lot of, last 2 years, I've been doing a lot of stuff on the ground. And I'm going to show you guys some of the issues that I ran into with trying to shoot on the ground. Now, I'm trying to get in tucked in really, really tight. And I'm going to try and get in some of these areas behind me over here, okay? And I'm going to try and show you, you know, limb clearance issues. Now, what was happening for me is with this bow, okay, I can actually, since it's so short and I'm shooting off of a really short stool. It's like an 8-inch or 9-inch tall stool. It's very, very short. I have a video on that. It's one of those folding little step stools you get for like 10 bucks, 12 bucks off of Amazon or whatever. Because I'm really trying to be like low to the ground and have something light and compact that I can pack in and pack out. That stool is awesome. I love it. If you guys search back, I keep saying I'm going to put links in the you know, up here somewhere or whatever to those videos. I never get around to doing it, so just search my stuff. You'll find a stool. But anyway, this for me was working out better on the ground, only because I've got, it's a shorter bow. This is a 10-inch shorter bow. Now, before we get into any more, you know, details about this, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, I can shoot my bow in any direction. I can shoot, you know, my ASL, let's say. I can shoot it like this. I can shoot it like this. I can shoot it like this. I can shoot it, you know, in the 5th dimension, you know. So, that's fine. If you can do that, that's fine. It's harder for me to do that. I can do it, but it's harder, and I'm practicing more with it, but it's harder for me to do it. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is my experience, my pros, my cons kind of thing, right? But with a longer limb, right, with a longer lower limb, well, you just run out of real estate behind you. If you're down on the ground and this limb is kind of behind you like this, especially if you're sitting on a hill, well, this goes into the hill pretty quickly, right? And you just run out of real estate. It's just that simple. Now you can be holding it sideways, okay? But then you still got this to worry about, clearance around you versus, and it kind of limits. If you're that low on the ground, it kind of limits. Like you have to hold it with a pretty severe cant a lot of times. Whereas with this shorter bow, I can damn near shoot it straight up and down when I'm sitting on my knees or on my butt almost, right? Or with a very slight cant. So I'm going to try and set up a spot over here so that you can see what I'm talking about, of how much I'm really trying to tuck into places. And then we'll go from there. And then, you know, by the way, by the end of this, I really will, someone's moving around in there. I really would like you to leave comments below, and while you're at it here, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. I never say that during the filming of this stuff, so and I don't put up the subscribe cards or anything like that. You guys know what to do. So if you like this video, please hit a like button and follow, okay? All right, so I'm going to set up over here, and I'm going to kind of show you how I'm tucking in and some of the issues I'm having, pros and cons. Okay, here we go. Anything like that, but so here's a typical scenario where I'm tucking in super tight. This is kind of an area where I'd like to tuck in if I'm actually in the woods, right? So I've got cover behind me. I know there's a dead space over here, but just, I'm talking about this over here. I like to be a little bit inside a brush, okay? So with inside a brush, okay, and if I've got this bow, I've got my Elkheart, okay? And I'm literally sitting this high off the ground. I'm on my knees, basically, right? So if you look, now I probably have a little bit of these trimmed away, okay, just a little bit. But if you look at my upper limb. It still has clearance over here, okay? And I can shoot anywhere from, see how I'm swiveling, and I'm on my butt. And I'm not having any limb interference with the ground, right? I've still got several inches. So if I'm sitting really, really low like this, okay, I can do this, and I can have all of this. Okay, touched it just a little bit there, but I've got, look at all this room I've got I can maneuver. Okay, and if I needed to come under here, right, I can do one of these. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so I do have a little cocoon around me like this where I can tuck in and not have interference. As opposed to my 66-inch bow. Let's get an arrow on here. Now already I'm tangled up here. I'm tangled up here like this, okay? I'm hitting down here with my lower limb already. I'm hitting up here and I'm hitting up here, okay? So look at this. I'm hitting like this, I'm hitting like this, and I certainly don't, I mean, I can't move anywhere other than here. I got stuff knocking off the arrow, right? Look at this. I can't shoot this up and down. I really don't have, honestly, I don't have any shot right here. I am literally tangled up. I am tangled up top, bottom, inside, outside, everywhere. The only shot I might have is if I do one of these, and I can, no, I don't even have that. I don't even have that, okay? So, forget it. This would not work for me right there. I don't know if you guys are able to see that really well. I'm gonna move the camera in a little bit. Okay, so one more time. I literally don't have any shot like this. I'm hitting everything. I'm hitting everything. I'm hitting up here. I'm hitting down there. Okay? If I have an arrow, I mean, the arrow is what it is. It sticks out in front of you. And even if I get rid of this, like I said, in front, I'm hitting up here. Okay? I can't be as tucked in as I want to be. I'm literally in a cocoon here, which is where I want to be on the ground. But I don't have, I'm hitting on the lower limb, hitting on the top limb. Even if I try to do sideways like this, I mean, I'm just tangled up. It's literally tangled up. Whereas, one more time, with this shorter bow, 56-inch. Okay, now, sitting on my butt, I got plenty of room underneath. I've got plenty of, I'm not hitting anything up here. I got plenty of room up top, right? And here I could draw. Look at this sweep. I've got this big sweep, right? And I can actually, like I said, go underneath if I needed to and shoot like this, okay? With the ASL, I'm not able to do any of those things. I would have to be sitting with back cover somewhere out here. It's kind of bright, okay? Somewhere out here. Meaning I don't have any issues this way, but look how far exposed I am. So anyway, let me get out of this pit over here and we'll finish this up. Okay, so to summarize, that has been my biggest issue with the ASL. I've tried it in a couple different locations, but what I try to set up on the ground is exactly that. Now you're gonna say, well, you can trim some trees, you can trim some, you can trim dead brush here, right? You can't really trim live trees or anything like that. You can move stuff out of the way, but that's fine. But maybe I don't want to. Maybe what I'm trying to do, and maybe I'm overdoing it. You tell me. I don't know. You tell me about your ground game. I would love to hear it. Maybe I'm overdoing it, but I'm trying to really, really envelop myself in a cocoon and be not necessarily, you know, have back cover, which everyone says is most important, but I want front cover too. And I want to be like inside the brush. I want to be inside the tree line with a couple like sniper holes, you know what I mean? And maybe you can do that with the ASL. But anywhere I've tried to set up that's that kind of cocooned in, brushed in, I haven't been able to do it. Same with, I hunt a lot of swamps, a lot of marsh. So there's a lot of marsh grass, okay? And with the marsh grass, it's one thing, but I mean, like once you plow a path through marsh grass, there's, you know, you don't want to be too exposed because you've got a path now where you walked in, or like a shooting lane where you knock stuff down. You can't really have this going on like this, okay, with all that marsh, and you can't hold it up straight up and down, obviously, because like I said, you're too low to the ground. I choose to hunt that low to the ground. If you're sitting in a wall-drop pack seat, you're sitting in like a stool or a bucket or something like that, more power to you. You can do that, absolutely. But for me, I'm trying to get low, really, really low, out of the way, and kind of tucked in, cocooned, enveloped. Whereas with this, I can do that. I can hold it straight up and down. My hand can be on a, I've said this before, my hand can be like on a gimbal, you know, where I can do this, I can move it around, I can do any kind of configuration. Whereas with Whereas with the ASL, I am I have to cant it, and then, you know, the sweep that I have, the arc that I have, and able to be able to shoot is very, very limited. And that's just kind of the issues that I run across. So anyway, I want to be the one bow guy. And this year I really want to commit to the ASL, and I still may do that. And even if it means like setting up with a little more clearance around, sorry, I got sweat in my eyes. I'm already disgusting humid. So even if it means I don't envelop myself in a cocoon, like let's say right behind me maybe, or where we're just doing it over here, maybe I do set up with a little more cover. And who knows? I mean, guys have been sitting on a 5-gallon bucket leaned up against a big old oak and killing deer for a long time. So maybe that works. I'm just trying to get even deeper, more cover. I'm trying to use as much to my advantage as I can. And I just can't make that work, the ground game work, the way I want to do it with the ASL. So I don't know. I think it's going to be, I'm going to probably, I was going to make a video about, and I still may, I don't know, about if I'm going to commit to the ASL this year, even though I said that last year and I didn't. I ended up carrying this thing. This bow, by the way, and my Black Hunter actually works as well. The Black Hunter is a 60-inch bow. I can't remember if it's a 60 or 58 longbow. I think it's 60. I can't remember. But that one actually works too. That one is about the limit of length for me for the things that I want to do. But the ASL, I ran into it problems a few times last year. Like I said, I'm sitting down and I've got either in brushed in like I just showed you, or especially if I'm sitting on a hill, right? And the hill is like kind of sloping up behind me. And then you run out of real estate behind you like very, very quickly because the hill is coming down. So there's even less room for a lower limb behind you. If you're kind of squatted, leaning against a tree or something like that, overlooking, a trail or something. So anyway, yeah, that's it. For the ground game, the short bow does matter. Now, I know a lot of you ASL guys are going to be screaming, saying, I've been killing stuff for, whatever. I know, I get it. And you guys are very, very good at what you do. But I'm just saying there's just a couple things to think about when you're trying to set up for the ground game, especially the ground game with a longer bow and a shorter bow, okay? So please, I want to hear your comments. How do you set up? And if you have any tips and tricks with the ground game, other than the normal ones where it's like, sit down, shut up, don't move. I get that. Scent control, wind. Yeah, I get that. I'm saying like deeper, like level 2, level 3 kind of tricks. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear what you guys do. So anyway, like I said, I appreciate you guys watching this. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really, really means a lot when you hit that subscribe button and get the notifications and all that stuff. And today is August 4th. August 4th. Yeah, so about a month and a half left. And get out there and shoot your bows, guys. Get out there and practice in the actual conditions that you're going to be hunting in. That's key. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.